Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this free webinar. Now, there's people out there who might not know me or might seen some of my videos, but probably never been in contact with me, or I've got a lot of people who talk to me over social media. But there's some people who have really just downloaded a lot of guides that I've created. Now, I've done a lot of Airbnb hacks, I've done Google My Business, I did Airbnb versus you. All this free downloads has, I think, just reached over thousands in total, and which I'm very grateful about. Obviously that helps a lot of service accommodation owners like yourself, who's watching my content and just really driving what I know really through some of the video content that I put out. So yeah, if you don't know me, my name is Piers. I run a successful service accommodation business and also help a lot of clients through my portfolio of consulting, and really to help them grow and outgrow their competition in the area to get some of the crazy results. Now, you must have clicked this video or come to this free masterclass purely because of the client results I've created, which I shared on social media, and I was so chuffed about, because later on in this video you would actually see my client's interview as well, because I've got an interview with her to show what exactly we've done and how she's gone from actually giving up her keys. She was about to hand over the property back to the landlord as a service accommodation, to now actually making a huge sales. I mean, we're talking £33,000. So without further ado, do you know what, guys? Let me just show you my screen, and welcome to this free webinar or slash masterclass, and also my client case study, which is going to give you a lot more information. So guys, this is going to be an hour long, so yeah, absolutely welcome. And I'm just going to crack on with some of the slides. It's going to be between a lot more of me showing you the screen, and in between I'll be talking over as well. So first of all, I want to show you this. So you can see from my screen, I was completing my usual walk. And the reason I'm showing you this is because you can see there's a text from my client, Lydia. Now, she's saying, "Hi Piers, I'm having a great time. I have a contractor in one of my house for 5 weeks, and I'm waiting for the other contractors to pay up. And just had a call from another contractor wanting 6 months, key workers wanting 1 month." So loads of inquiry, basically loads of inquiry. Confused myself now, so I need to get someone brilliant to think what to do next. Well, I think it's all about your help really. So I was very shocked, because I was in between my usual walk at the moment, and yeah, then I received this little text from my client as a follow-up text. Now I think I'm going to share it again. You will see in the client interview anyway. But I think I remember her calling me and saying, "Piers, I can't even get a one-night booking, and one of the property I've just taken on about like literally a month or two ago, I need to hand back the keys because the rent is so high." So over the years, I have served many service accommodation owner through my Bespoke Investor Club, and obviously my consulting that I help with. I source, but also I kind of consult to grow your service accommodation and scale your service accommodation business. And I always admire the change and the benchmark that has been set in the industry. Now, I just want to touch base on this really, because people, branding and marketing, operational legals, and sales and performance. Now, you must have seen this, me talking about in social media all the time, and also have done a full video on this. It's the four kind of pillar of SA business, and how important it is to focus on like pretty much each of the important kind of factors of building your service accommodation business, right? So the growth of the industry. Now, the large portfolio owners, they make over millions of pounds in revenue, and each department, which I mentioned earlier, to grow their business from every aspect. Now, they invest on it. Now, however, they've only got a standard looking unit and hasn't got that wow factor. Now, if you look at some of the company I've seen before anyway, with large portfolio, they are very basic looking units, and yeah, they do the job, but they obviously run as a portfolio business, so that's why they've got blocks and blocks of apartments. Now, however, on the other side, we are, you know, property investors. We decided to invest in a service accommodation business as a property investing strategy, and most of you would probably agree that. Now, the more to 1 to 3 units maximum, and over managing the whole business, including, you know, you're managing the communication, your branding, your marketing, your sales, your legals, your payments. You're pretty much doing everything in the business, right? Now, yeah, I can, you know, as you can see, you can feel this way, and, you know, all the to-do lists to do, many things to do, tasks to do. You'll be writing lists and lists of things as a individual, as a business owner, trying to achieve, you know, the results for your service accommodation business. So again, I want to show you this is my client Lydia and myself on our weekly call. Now on the left, you can see week 1, it's pretty much all red. Now that is my audit that I do with my clients when I first take them, when we sit and agree and saying we're going to go ahead. My first thing I actually work with clients is to let them know that we need to go through where you are with your current business in terms of your brand building, and then decide how we can move on. Now, if you can see on the right hand side, week 3, we've now probably gone from probably 5% green, 95% red, to almost 80% green and maybe 20% red. Now that's the sort of increase of improvement that I actually deliver for my clients as a consultant. Now, some of you might be new to this and might not know what I'm talking about in terms of my consulting service. So I actually run a branding builder or brand builder for service accommodation business, and that means if you're a service accommodation owner who've been running business for, you know, a month, 2, or even a year, and are really looking to scale and outgrow your competition in your investment area, and also build a company, a branding that you can cherish for years to come, this is what I offer. So again, going back to my screen, it's an overview of my services. It's a brand building consulting, so I kind of pretty much show you step-by-step process on how you can increase your presence and eventually increase your sales and bookings. Obviously later on in the video I'll show you some of the example, but you know, it's a kind of bespoke service, because obviously the important part is you might be in a different journey to somebody else, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you. It's complete audit first, and then obviously it's a revenue based delivery, which means whatever you're working with me eventually is going to give you revenue straight away, because that's the sort of implementation we're going to do in this. So just overview of my client Lydia, obviously a focused property investor. About her, service accommodation owner, obviously heavily relied on the online travel agents. The day we completed our discovery call, I still remember she was struggling to get one night bookings, and just took, I think she had just took one more unit as well, so she had 2 in her portfolio. Now, being visionary, right? I liked about her. She really understood there is an opportunity for her to grow her business, and you know, with the right tools and support. She mentioned, but also at the back of the mind, she would want to give up the whole business, because she was not, you know, she was very, very worried about those expenses that she's going to have with having no booking. So she could have easily gave up, because I will share you my handover interview with her, and you know, she was in the verge of closing her business, and she will tell you exactly what she feels right now, and you know, the landlord eventually as well, because obviously signing a contract for, you know, God knows 2.5 years or whatever, and then in a month you're trying to say, actually I need to hand over the keys, could be a real big pain for the landlord. So however, looking at the other side, within that period, while I was speaking to Lydia and trying to get on board as a client, you know, myself, if you can see my direct bookings for 8 months, I just secured my client saying, ignore that email, the payment, you know, the payment all paid, thank you. I shared it on social media. There's another one that I'm showing you here, which is my clients' results. Some of them making over £3,000, some of them making over £1,000. And that's the sort of bookings we were eventually getting, while Lydia was just sitting there thinking what's next for her, and a business of service accommodation. Now, because me and my client, we spent a lot of time building a marketer's business, and make our presence outgrow our competition. Now I'll explain you later on what I meant, and over that in my free masterclass that I'm going to cover a little bit later on in this video. So a marketer's business is something I want to really cover and give you guys a understanding why it's so important for service accommodation business. So guys, welcome to this kind of free case study, a free masterclass on how to grow and scale a service accommodation business and fire yourself from branding aspect. Now that's probably the biggest thing a service accommodation owner sometimes forget about while starting their service accommodation journeys. In today's teaching, I'm going to show you how to set your branding with the correct routes so you can remove yourself from it. The high performers of service accommodation business and their techniques, how to make online travel agents work for you, how to generate 10 to 15 direct leads to your business, the light framework of marketing business, how you can make 10,000 to 20,000 extras by this year by doing all of this, and the strategy behind all the numbers, the real life case study, and I'll be sharing you that throughout this program. Right, so first of all, targeted listing channels and plug and play. So key direct booking placements, so that's to and how to register it. So it's a plug and play that I will be sharing you at the end of the video. So if you stick around, at the end of the video, I'll be sharing you this. And yeah, it's literally a free listing that you can register in, and it will show you exactly how to do it as well. And why is it important? Because it will come, it comes with a full plug and play. And it tells you exactly how you can get 2 more free listing as a company as well. So is this free training or webinar masterclass for you? So if you're a frustrated service accommodation owner, so those who have been running service accommodation business for the last 12 months and want to sustain and make this business model work for you. So this free training will show you how you can start thinking of the fundamentals and putting processes in places for your branding while you run your business. It's also for new service accommodation owner, those who are ready to pick up keys for your first property and really, to be completely honest, worry about failing in the first 6 months of operation. Now that's me. I picked up the keys, and that was a kind of cool story. It was an Airbnb run by landlord, and I took it over, and yeah, I had very little investment at this actually, so exciting stuff. Yeah, so this free training will show you how you are going to utilize all platforms, including direct bookings, to secure thousands of pounds worth of bookings and create a long-term market placement. Now it's also for portfolio service accommodation owner, those who have several units operating and now are hoping to drive traffic to using each property to build a business branding. Now this training will show you how you'll be building. Also this also allows you to secure you more sales bookings, but also win more landlords and letting agents. I also believe one of the biggest thing I'm showing you on the screen is work on the business, not in it. Now that is one of the lessons that really changed for me as a business owner, and in this free masterclass I will be sharing you a lot more details. I'm going to show you the macro of how this works for SA owner. Now SA means service accommodation owners, if you guys are new to service accommodation business, and also I'll zoom into the details to show you how to put the cogs in places to accomplish this. Right, so how to fire yourself from branding aspect of service accommodation business. So number 1 is outsource, number 2 is automate it, and number 3 is systemize it. So as a service accommodation owners, there's you might not have the knowledge to actually deliver this, but it's such a crucial part of the business, and you need to outsource it. You can automate it straight away after outsourcing. You'll be able to see that, and then eventually you systemize it, because then that way you're actually taking yourself out of the branding aspect of the business and focusing on more sales and the operational, and the branding will do the work for you. The main area of SA business, now something I share over my social media quite a lot, is if you wanted to rate yourself, right, is let's say, you know, from a property investing strategy, how confident or how knowledgeable are you? So if you rate yourself from 0 to 10, please, again, if you're taking notes, making sure you write this down. As a hospitality business, rate yourself from 0 to 10 and how much in terms of the business knowledge do you have. And last but not the least, a marketer's business, again, rate yourself from 0 to 10 in terms of the marketing knowledge you have to build a service accommodation business. Now, the reason why we're doing that is I still believe that sales is something you should do yourself because it's the high ROI, and let me show you that. Because let's talk about now, this is just a kind of guidance, but obviously everyone's got a different numbers factor, but maths to make £1,000 profit in 4 weeks, right? So average monthly expenses, let's say you're running a 2-bed apartment, your rent is about £1,000, you've got your bills about 300, and you've got other expenses which is 120. Now they're generally your fixed expenses for your service accommodation. Then obviously you've got your variable expenses, which is depending on, you know, if you've got cleaners, housekeeping team, your complementary items that have been used and replaced. All those are variable expenses. Now, average monthly revenue, given that you achieve 130 per nightly rate, average weekdays and weekend, you'd be needing roughly 36% occupancy, given the client will pay for the cleaning fees on top. So 130 per night flat, and then on top you charge for your cleaning fees. Now, to make profiting £1,000, you achieve to work, let's say you've got a client from Monday to Friday, which I love, you know, I talk about this all the time, contractors, for the next 4 weeks, which is 520 per week, which is 130 per night. And that gives you a total of 2,080 in 4 weeks revenue and all fixed expenses. You are about 660 profit in that unit. When we have, you know, 3 to 8 weekends booked, which is less than 50% off your weekend target. So out of 4 weekends, which is Saturday, Sundays, let's say you've been booked, or even Friday, Saturday, Sunday, should say, out of 12 weekends, you should, you know, even if you get booked for 4 or even, I think about 3 or 4 nights, you're going to make an extra profit, taking you to 1,050 profit in 4 weeks' time. Now, remember, we're working on the basis that the cleaning fee is obviously paid by the guest, which is generally the case if you market it properly. Now, the reason why I don't outsource and manage it myself is because, you know, the process of securing those long-term bookings that I've just shown you in a constant basis is actually sales and building relationship. But you want your branding to do the work for you, to drive you those actual sales opportunity, right? And that's what I'm gonna, again, one of the things that I want to share with you today is the high performance or performers of service accommodation business and their techniques. So number 1 is the market placement, number 2 is the sales, and number 3 is the service delivery. So in my opinion, market placement for service accommodation business is so important. Now, you must have seen all the content I put out, especially with my Bespoke Investor Club. It's so important that a lot of time I've seen service accommodation owners actually neglecting those information and not putting enough focus on this. So again, we're going to go back and I'm going to show you a lot more of a kind of, you know, details of how and why this is so important as a service accommodation owner, and how important it is to kind of make sure that you have got that systems and processes in place. So let me show you in a little secret about the work is done before, which means not knowing that an average Airbnb user spends just over 11 minutes on their website before they decide booking a accommodation with them, right? So it's so crucial that your clients either would have kind of decided already or have done their 80% of work before they either message you on Airbnb or drop you a call for that long-term bookings. Now, I've had hundreds of calls, and in fact, my question is, where do you find me? And they say Google, Booking.com, Airbnb, and, you know, different places. Now, one of the biggest thing I've always kind of, it surprises me, and also my clients have always been surprised, is when you ask your clients, oh, where have you just found me because you've just called me, they will just say we're actually looking at Airbnb right now, but then obviously Airbnb doesn't have your number. So that's the sort of market placement. The work is done before. Now the challenges I've seen is SA owners or service accommodation owners are not fully utilising the maximum potential of online travel agents to drive traffic using a company branding and to lead you to eventually be found on Google, and furthermore them to drop you a call, and you're being seen everywhere. And that's again a very, very important kind of message I put over to my one-to-one clients, is to say that you need to be seen everywhere, and there's certain way you can achieve that. So it's better you fire and invest in your, so fire as in fire yourself from the branding side and invest in your branding and marketing of your service accommodation business. Now, most of you guys are probably self-managing your units, and some of you might be even watching this as a management company. And I know, I've served through my Better Than Hotel. I've pretty much had, I think, just over 40 management company working with me and advertising their properties. Now you're thinking, well, actually, Piers, A, I don't know what I'm doing, and B, I have no money, or I don't see the point of doing that right now because I've only got, one property. I get that a lot. And for me, the DNA of successful SA owners. Now, you'll be surprised that 90% of successful service accommodation owners are self-managed and run by themselves, and only 10% of SA owners who are time poor are absolutely leveraging management companies to deliver them top results, right? However, the structure, I've had many clients obviously asking me, hey, what do you think about management companies, or also my thoughts on it. Now, I know some of the top managements in the company, management companies in the UK, and I know they're delivering amazing results for their client, but also I've served clients as a brand, literally branding consulting, brand builder clients who have their management company absolutely, utterly underperformed, and as a result, they've handed back their apartment. And the overall thought for me is build a brand of business for years to come and a brand to cherish for years. So what that means is obviously, both to your own benefit, SA owner will invest on branding, which means obviously they're keen to grow their business, grow their company, or because they cannot achieve more sales or bookings and they're time poor, they will pass it over to a management company to deliver so. Right, now I'm going to show you something in my screen now, which is pretty much to give you an understanding of a client. So you can see here, this is one of the example of views driving occupancy rate, and sometimes it's not always about how much you make, and it's also I show how your views and effort will result on changing the way your company's been looked at in years to come. Now, what that means is, if you currently look at the screen, it's 32% occupancy rate versus the market's only on 8.4%. Now that's just 2nd of April, right? When I took this client on, that was their results. They had 0 occupancy rate. They had 6 there. They've got 6 listings going on. The market rate was on about 12%, and they had pretty much no bookings. So let me just go back into the screen again. So the change you can see in a month that I, just working with myself as a branding, created from them to be probably the bottom of the bottom units in the investment area to actually 3 times more what the market was actually achieving. So that's the sort of results that actually excites me as well. The top SA owners have their eyes on making their best return from every avenue, and I show you how how the clients went from 0% to 32% occupancy in just 4 weeks, and that's again quite important because it's not that as a result of that. I know you can see that means my client just made, I think in that special month, I think they just made over £6,000 from that platform, but it's the fact that he was making 0 revenue to £6,000 in 4 weeks says a lot about the overall market placement that is going to come over the years. Now, online travel agents, right? So one of the things I think I want to cover today is a lot of time people, and you must have seen this as well, or you've spoken to other SA owners, and people talk about, Piers, actually, online travel agents, I'd rather have my direct bookings because I'm paying commission to, Booking.com extremely high, and I think I'm losing a lot of direct bookings. But actually, if you look at this way, normally I say standard, owners, what they look at is they look at sales and booking that you get from online travel agents, and the second thing is you get a communication, systemized communication that you have. But how me and my clients look at it is the third part, which is the brand traffic that I can achieve using online travel agents. Now, what I'm saying again is going back to earlier what I said was the clients that find you on Airbnb and Booking.com should be able to find you in other platforms, eventually making them call you directly as well. So our job as a SA owner is to really absolutely leverage the kind of the online travel agent. Now, my point is we should utilize the fact that Booking.com and Airbnb are spending millions to drive traffic to their website, and we just need to play around and drive traffic from there to our own platforms, and that's really to create yourself a direct booking. Now, if you're thinking, how is that even possible? I mean, that's how me and my clients are generating direct bookings leads to our properties. So let's just again go back and show you how my client achieved the kind of the occupancy rate that they had. And the online travel agents that I showed you earlier was the sales and booking and the communication is driving, using those tools, you're actually driving traffic to your brand. And that's very, very important. Well guys, I hope you have been enjoying this masterclass so far. I've really put this together to give you like a very, very big overview of what a service accommodation branding can be, and how you can really have, it kind of helps you understand that it will take you a long way really in the next few years, especially when you're building this company, building your portfolio, working on those properties. There's sometimes we miss these little things that's really going to drive you sales and bookings, and that's one of the things that again today is to really kind of eliminate yourself out of that aspect of driving branding and stuff, that eventually it will work for you to then get those sales and bookings, and for you to convert those sales and bookings. So again, I'm going to share you my screen, and now I'm going to talk to you about Travelodge and how they have kind of used and understood the whole understanding of branding. Guys, Travelodge, right? So why do you think Travelodge don't market in Booking.com? And that's probably one of the biggest questions that's always gone around. And what they've done is a league of its own. Now, Travelodge, obviously, they call themselves low budget hotels, but they don't even bother using the biggest platform in the world, who are spending millions of pounds in revenue, purely because obviously they want to create a league of its own and effectively drive traffic directly to their website and phone calls really, and that's what they've been able to create. Now, if you look at my screen, they employ 12,000 people across all hotels and support office, and in 2017 they just generated, I mean the information's a little bit old, but 637 million for as a business. Now, they class themselves as from a branding perspective as a low budget hotel. But let's refer to this, right? And this is something I've found online, which is very fascinating, that a Travelodge admits that price alone cannot boost loyalty, which means you can see how they started thinking about why is it so important as a business that they need to start thinking about the loyalty, the branding side. And obviously Travelodge is known for pricing, that people know if you want a cheap stay you are going to go in Travelodge, but they started moving their price-driven strategy to more loyalty and more of a branding, and eventually eliminate themselves from the biggest platform, which is Booking.com. Now, I can't give you my whole, marketing team's number who has done all this for me, but I want to make sure I give you like a little framework. Now, I'll be giving you a small framework so that you can use it to create furthermore understanding of branding service accommodation business. Now, updated, most of you know me coming up with critical opportunities every time for our properties, and the best way to create the best and the biggest market return while dominating your competition And you know that I try different approaches every month, and some of that I've been able to share online, and most of you guys who are watching this have probably gone through a few of my free training that I provided. Now, 2020 marketing, this year has been a little bit different, obviously. So different to be the most actually has brought me the most, kind of the best outcome for, you know, branding of all our properties and creating opportunities even when all the platforms has closed and our calendar were closed as well. So let me share you something actually. So let me ask you some questions. So apart from online travel agents, how many other listings do you have? So please make sure you're writing this down so it gives you an understanding of where your current position is as a brand. So apart from OTAs, how many other listings do you have? Which means how can people find you? Question number 2, can you be found easily on Google My Business? So in the investment area that you are, can you be found in Google My Business? Question number 3, are you aware that not having optimized or call to action driven website means absolutely nothing? So you can have a website, but certain things there you need in the website. If you haven't done that, the website means absolutely nothing. Question number 4, when was the last time you've changed and tested your OTA's listing? Question number 5, what's your brand identity in the market and the types of presence you have for your properties? And it would be just worth kind of overviewing this. After this, now you have an opportunity to create a detailed marketing business plan for your service accommodation business. Now, there are the 5 questions that I would absolutely suggest you write down and answer them, and eventually that will allow you to create a marketing business plan for your business. And here you go, guys, that's the framework I would love, you know, I've given you today for you to start really to understand about service accommodation in terms of branding and this, you know, the important part of branding and really to drive your business for years to come. Now, just remember, branding is amazingly fun when you have the right detailed framework and have enough opportunities to actually implement it, which means obviously you can, you know, you've got all the properties, you've got a company that you probably are, if you're watching this, you should have a service accommodation business already growing. It's just the opportunity of making it fun, having the right detailed framework and actually absolutely implementing it. I want to share something which is, obviously we're going to talk about, earlier in my video I talked about my client Lydia, who achieved from, you know, having no bookings to £33,000. And some of the things I want to share today was, with this in mind, I want to give you views. The results of the framework that I've shared you, I've shown an implementation will allow you to increase your visibility online, which means on an average you'll be seeing over 20 more listings, and you know, it will give you an idea of how you can achieve that. Now, growth, the fact that you'll drive your company and your property listing branding via, you know, 20 or more different channels, and there will always be going to be loaded, absolutely loaded, as in the information, the exact information what your clients are willing to find about you and your company as well, which is absolutely what you want to show online. And overloaded leads, I love this, because now I said earlier, I'll show you a client case study from 0 to £33,800 worth of sales and booking in just 5 weeks. And I know my client saying that in the interview, she actually started getting people fighting for one property, as in they were challenging, saying, look, I want that property. And she had obviously the text I shown earlier, she was overloaded with leads. And that's exactly what you've done. So congratulations, that just alone will give you an absolute broader mind on branding. Well guys, I'm sure you have been enjoying, you know, the detailed kind of share of what I've gone through today in this kind of free masterclass, but I wanted to do that because sometimes we as a service accommodation owner, we're so busy really trying to think about the sales, the bookings, the you know, the day-to-day operation, we completely forget how important the branding and marketing is for our businesses, and how this is going to pay off in the years to come. Because one of the biggest success of, you know, service accommodation owners are to plan your next 12-24 months, and in terms of branding, if you can do that, you can eventually create a brand that you're going to cherish for years to come. So without further ado, I think most of you have come to watch this. This is one of my clients that I worked so hard. Our client call, I still remembered, I was so pressurized. You know, the onboarding call, I still remember saying, look, Piers, I'm in a verge of actually handing back my keys. I've got no bookings at the moment. My properties are set empty. To today, after 5 weeks working together, we have secured over £33,800 worth of sales and bookings. And without further ado, this client has worked so hard, and with all the right tool, the right knowledges, I was able to provide her with my support and stuff. This has absolutely implemented it, and we've achieved this result. So let me just roll on that interview, and I'll catch up once this interview is finished.
Guys, welcome to this video. I've got Lydia here, who has worked with me as a brand and marketing client, and we've worked nearly 5 months, 5 weeks actually, first of all. And I think about my client, I think lovely lady who's been really honest and kind of upfront about what she's been up to and how she wants to run her service accommodation business. And I would like to introduce Lydia. Lydia, I'm just going to ask you some questions, but please introduce yourself. What are you doing at the moment? What property business are you running?
Hello, my name is Lydia. I've got 2 units in Maidstone, and the other unit I got it about over a month ago, and I almost gave it up until I met Piers, and now I'm doing really, really well.
Well, incredible. Now listen, I think when you're saying, I want to go back to our phone call we had, and I remember you saying you haven't got one booking, and obviously you were about to give up pretty much on that unit, right? Now I just want to say, how does your landlord feel, first of all? Because that's the most important part, more than what you're doing. How does your landlord feel? Because you've had that conversation with your landlord, didn't you? Saying you want to get on your service accommodation because you had no bookings before.
Yes, I said to my landlord, I cannot go on because I'm not getting anyone, so I need to give it up. And we negotiate. My landlord said, all right, fine, you have to give me 2 months notice.
Yeah.
Or I can reduce your rent a little bit. So he did reduce my rent.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it's a happy situation. He is happy because he really loves the way I keep the house.
Yeah.
And
it's looking stunning, by the way. You have really put into a great detail into that property. No, so well done. Now, listen, how much are you making? Or first of all, how long have you secured a client for in that property? So you had no client at that point when we met about 5 weeks ago. How long so where did you get that lead from, and how long is that client going to stay with you?
Well, after meeting you, we spoke about doing a Google listing, which I've done. Yeah. So I've had, at the moment, with the 2 properties, I've got contractors. Yeah. So in the property you're talking about, which I almost gave up, I've got people coming in on Monday from Glasgow. They're coming for 7 months.
Yeah. And how much are you making per month with that client?
3,500.
Wow. So that's 24,500 in 7 months you're going to make with that client.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And not only that, the funny thing is, there was another contractor from Portsmouth who was crying to have that booking, to have that house.
So effectively, you had no lead, so now you had 2 people really fighting, wanting that property.
Yes.
Wow, incredible. And how is it like working with me? Just how did you feel for the last 4 weeks? What are the processes that you think that has really helped you understand, the brand building of your service accommodation, and why do you think it's so important? So somebody who's going to watch this, why is it so important as a service accommodation owner?
You actually go in depth with everything. Like the most important thing that we spoke about is the branding and how you have to word it on Google to be found. Yeah. And to be honest, I've had so many calls that I cannot even handle, and it's just been amazing. And you have time. You answer all the questions. You give everything that you know that has worked for you, which is really great. I mean, I'm rubbish at all this stuff, but to be honest, I can grasp what you say easily.
No, I remember you saying you're not, digitally friendly and all that. And today, it doesn't matter. There's only little things that you need to really do to achieve great results. And listen, what would you recommend me to someone? That's probably, so the people who are watching this video wants to know, why is it worth working with me?
I think.
Come on, just tell. Don't be too nice. Just say.
No, you are really. I haven't worked with anybody at all. You are the first person, but I've been recommended to work with other people, and I wouldn't choose anyone else. And I know there are other good educators out there, but I would recommend you 100%. 100%.
And remember, this is, for me, this service that I provide, which is the brand builder, it's more revenue-driven sales for you as an owner. You're not just taking knowledge. We're doing it physically in a property or business that you have, right? Whereas, sometimes you go out and learn bits and then you don't get to implement it. Whereas what we've done is weekly, I remember, we go through the first audit day and you had all the reds. To today, you've got all greens and all the actions being completed, which shows that, which effectively shows what you've achieved. And I'm very pleased that, I think I'm looking at your property still has £9,300 sale for 2 months, right, with one contractor group. And obviously the other one we've spoken, we're going to stay there for 7 months, which is 24,500. So I'm guessing you've just managed to make about 33,800 in the last 5 weeks for the next coming month.
Yeah, honestly, it's amazing.
Brilliant.
I can't believe it myself at all.
No, I love it. No, look, it's all hard work. All I can offer to my clients, I say I say to you from day one as well, I said, I can give you guidance and all provide the tools and the services that it's worked for me, and effectively I'm shown for people, because last year, I don't know if you're aware, but I took 2 service accommodation units from direct to landlords, right? Because they were running as an Airbnb, so they call it Airbnb, obviously we call it service accommodation. They were running Airbnb and they couldn't run it, so they gave up. And I took it over, and both the property is making me money at the moment. It's just because how I put my marketing in and branding in place.
And I can see that giving profit straight away, and I do understand it now. I mean, to be honest, if it was not for you, that other property, because this property is mine, the first property is mine, so I can't give up anyway. But the other property, if it was not for you to say, no, hold on to it, and we market this together, I would have given up a long time ago.
I know. And listen, I think this is where you've now got an opportunity to find property that's furnished, or maybe there's Airbnb owners who are about to give up. And you can turn around and say, let me take over. And you have now the knowledge of the branding and the marketing of your business and your apartments or your accommodation. So you can utilize that and really, all that deals I've done last year, the 2 deals actually, from especially the direct to landlord from Airbnb, was I only invested about £500 of my own money to do a little bits and bobs, apart from paying the rent and the deposit. But today it's making me more money than any other apartment because my expenses are so less.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's but listen, it's been a pleasure working with you, and thank you so much for doing this interview. Keep smashing. I know you didn't want to do it, but I thought it'll be you've got to share your success. You really do. You've worked hard and you achieved this.
Now, I hope you enjoyed that client case study. It absolutely, as always, puts smile on my face. Now, I've worked with several other clients, and different clients. I've shared it on social media and my YouTube as well. One of my clients doubled his, view and all the listings in just Airbnb, and as a result of Airbnb, he then started achieving the highest return on occupancy as well. I've shared that as well. So there's certain things I've worked with different clients, and I know all my clients are different, and I love the fact that we've been able to achieve this kind of results. Going back to my screen, we are at this stage in the free client case study, or this free masterclass, where you have 2 options, guys. So one, you can take everything you've learned today and try to implement it on your own without any support, right? Now, however, Number two, you can work absolutely with myself, my power team, create a system and process for your branding that even in 5 years of this business, you'll be able to cherish absolutely daily. Now, I'm going to offer you a brand builder with an incentive that, I've never done that before. And this is obviously because you guys are spending time really watching this video with myself and really wanted to know why my client has achieved that kind of results. Now, one of the biggest thing I know about even Lydia was she absolutely closed her eyes and trusted me fully to give her the opportunity of, to give me the opportunity of actually delivering what we've achieved with her today. And one of the biggest things service accommodation owner miss is, they sometimes forget how investment like this is actually more of a revenue driven investment. Is not for you to just go and learn and not do anything. It's actually to go and put it together, do it together, and eventually see the revenue actually increasing. Now, I recommend you click away if you don't see the value in step-by-step consulting. Now, having a system and processes handed over to you with everyday WhatsApp support by myself, and eventually I'm running my own portfolio, so I will be able to give you some of the kind of the consulting that it's a real life example. It's just not to say, oh, you've got to go and do this. It's what I do is what I show you. The second thing is the branding in 4 weeks, becoming a market leader in your area of investment. And then what you can do is you can replicate that easily on more units that you'll be acquiring. Now, you can click away if you're not, if you don't see the value in revenue-driven service. So, in the views and the presence of Airbnb and Booking.com going on, or even Google going up in just 14 days, and a result of more click means you're going to get more revenue, which means obviously the more people find you, the more people see you, they're going to call you, and you're going to get your apartments and accommodation being booked. And the community and the support. So if you don't see the value in, why would you want to be a part of working with me in details of that I go in weekly Zoom calls where we set actions and implement it through the week, and you can have access to all my plug and play script tools and resources, right? Now, guys, let me just again go back into this, the kind of the maths of making a grand profit in 4 weeks. It's just to give you an overview. It's going back to basic. It's making sure that you are presented in a way that you be found everywhere, and eventually you're going to get those kind of revenue coming to you as quickly as possible. But at the same time, it's just not about today. It's not about the next 4 weeks. It's about the brand building exercise that we're going to go through. Now, just about my client Lydia, that I gave her the knowledge and she was open to taking it. We absolutely implemented it together. We drive the revenue, which is obviously you can see that, and then she's cherishing a company that she's built now over the years to come. Now, we've got the consulting, the weekly call, the plug and play, the script, the tools. Especially if you can replicate that in all your properties, I know the fact that it's going to be an infinite ROI, which means whatever you're going to invest is going to pay off to you as long as you have service accommodation business, and the brand is going to really work for you. So, guys, I want to introduce you my brand builder consulting. Obviously, you guys know that I offer brand builder consulting, and that's how my client Lydia has actually achieved that. And it's the way to become top 1% of service accommodation owners in the UK. Now, this is something I want to share with you. You can see it's a client I worked with in 2019, guys, and normal people like him started my consulting services. They were my very first client. Watching my free training, and as a result they moved into my consulting, and you can see what it says. I doubled his view on Airbnb in a week, or even tripled, and the sales gone up. So you could put saying, Piers, sorry for the late reply, I wanted to see the stats, but looking at it, it went up from average 20 to 30 views to late 80 to 90, so great impact. My booking went up as a result. Speak later in the week. So you can see how little details are going to show you that I will teach you, I'll show you, I'll work with you to get you the results. Now, this is another It's actually a very, very fascinating story. I did a free Airbnb hack, kind of put it out there in the market, and I think I had just over 200 downloads. And in that case, somebody you can see actually implemented it, and within I think 5 days of her implementing it, she sent me this message saying, "Are you ready for this? Firstly, thank you for the hack. I did the first hack, which was edit your profile, and this came through, right?" And then all the sales she's made within that few days. And I'm looking forward to put the rest of the properties getting booked. You are amazing. Can't wait to spend tonight tweaking the rest of the hack. Thanks, Piers. You're a top guy. God bless you. And I have been able to impact service accommodation owners through all the knowledge I have. And guys, it's so important that you see that it's what I've shown her today is what is going to cherish in the years to come at being a service accommodation owner. Another client result of mine, they are actually my bespoke investor clients, so I source for them. They've worked with me very closely, and I sourced, I consult, and I obviously do the branding side of everything for this client. I did a Google My Business video about this as well, and they actually are Google's #1 preferred listing at the moment, and not only through all their images on maps, every single places in Google, their company name is loud. What that means is obviously every time somebody's searching in that investment area, they're going to call this company because they are #1 everywhere. Now, guys, this is another client of mine where I was doing a Zoom call. You can see, and I'm explaining my client how depth I go into, like saying how much time an Airbnb app user would spend on the app. So look, what I'm showing you is the byproduct of me doing this every day, right? It's the byproduct of hundreds of my client stories, success stories that I've gone through with all my one-to-ones, my consulting, my branding, my free hacks, all these clients who've used my products and knowledge to implement this. And also it's the byproduct of absolutely rigorous testing. It's just what I've constantly made work for me and my clients, and that's exactly what I'm sharing with you in this brand building service and consulting service with me. Well, as we're going through this, guys, I am sure if you're looking to work with me, what I'm going to do is in this page you will have my email now, but also there is a link optional that you can just follow, literally go through that link, complete it, and then I will absolutely look forward to take you on my onboarding call where we have your first audit of your business. And that is where it all starts for all my clients. We will know exactly where you are with your kind of branding, and eventually that branding is what's going to help me kind of put a plan in place for you to achieve that in the next 4 weeks. We're working with myself, working with my power team, my tools and my scripts, everything I have, I'm going to show you to create success in your service accommodation business. And I am so fortunate that I've been able to achieve this with, as you can see, from so many clients, and I would love to work with you. Well, guys, I'm going to share you the disturbing cost of going it all alone. Now, I know to figure out all of this information, because I know I've invested a lot of time doing it myself, is to get your brand set up right way. It could take you months and months and might not figure out exactly what you're trying to achieve. You would have test everything out yourself rather than getting step-by-step process handed to you. Imagine you would have wasted so much money, sales and bookings. Obviously you missed that opportunity, and potentially income you'd be wasting. To get access to my blueprint in details that you can really cherish to build a company for years to come, and might literally take you a lot of time, of your time to achieve that, and you might not even achieve the highest potential. So think about the true cost of walking this path alone, blind and with no sense of direction. So you will be literally trying to do it all yourself. And again, there's no harm in it, but obviously when you don't have the process or the systems in places, it will take you a lot of time and waste a lot of sales and bookings that you're going to come your way. Now, everyone has been telling me this should be worth a lot, right? Now, if all this did was help you land just one client long term, adding you an extra £400 to £1,000 per month in revenue, would that be worth? right? Give you all the tools, the plug and play, the documents, my power team with consulting, like literally showing you absolutely everything, step-by-step process. Would it be worth to you? And we'll give you the process, the system to never worry about your branding. Take care of your business as a result, having it going for years with freedom, and you do not have to worry about what's next for the business next year, next week, or even in the years to come. And would it be worth it for you? So previously I have done so many masterclass, never spoken about my business builder, as I wanted to see the success results help out service accommodation owner during this pandemic, right? And instead I gave away Airbnb versus You training and Better Than Hotel directory for service accommodation owners, and all for free. I've done that. You might be, if you're watching this and if you're a service accommodation owner, you might be already a part of Better Than Hotel as well. So guys, look, once again, I present you a brand builder for service accommodation business, and I always say this, you will be cherishing this, a brand for years to come. So guys, with the last part of our video, I want to leave you with this. Look, you can go away after this free webinar, free masterclass. You don't do anything about your business and stay where you are. You've got another option, which is try to start your branding journey alone and struggle for months and lose those sales and bookings. And number 3, you have an opportunity to start your journey to brand builder with the best results in the industry. And I can hands down say you that, because there's not a lot of services like this at the moment in the industry anyway, but also to the level that I've been able to achieve with the tools and the system. In return, it's a revenue generating investment that you're going to make. So guys, I'm going to leave you with that, and please make sure you start thinking. And if you want to join on, I will leave the link down below. So please make sure you are going there and actually actioning it right now, so that I can take over. And I look forward to our onboarding call. Well, before you go, I am going to leave the link down below to download your free the PDF for 2 free business listing. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, I want to make sure that I help as many service accommodation owners through understanding this part of branding and marketing. And if you really want to grow your service accommodation business, it is the time to invest in your branding so that you can enjoy the business for years to come. And I must say that if you're going to do that, you're ready for it right now. So please make sure you go down to the link. Please make sure you action it right now, and I look forward to onboarding you as soon as possible. And thank you so much for watching. As always guys, stay blessed.